gentlemen, please welcome Peter Edge.
Good evening, Woollerton. How are we doing? Hey. Fantastic. Can I just say, this is my favourite fireplace to perform in. I've been gaslit before, but never quite like this. And it's nice to know that we are contemporary. It's fucking February. Oh, it's nice to be out. It's nice to be out on a Tuesday night, isn't it? Nice to see so many couples. I've been married 37 years. We never go out anymore, you know. Well, we go shopping. She lets me go shopping, and if I'm really good, she lets me choose the supermarket, you know. And I don't know about you guys, but I love a good German supermarket. You know, the sort of place you can pop out for a tub of cottage cheese and a chainsaw. And we were doing the weekly shop last night, and we were waiting to pay. We were in the queue, and in front of us in the queue, there's a woman with a child who can only be described as feral. And all the while we've been in there, he's been legging it up and down, knee sliding like a professional footballer, ragging stuff off the shelves. I mean, in fairness, the poor kid has obviously got a diagnosis, you know, ADHD, PTSD, WD-40, one of those. And just to shut him up at the tills, she's given him a bag of own brand cheese puffs. Whatsits, we'd call them. Whatsits. And he's stuffing them in left, right and centre. And behind us in the queue, there's a slightly older woman who's got a face on her like a bulldog licking the piss off her neck. And she's looking at this woman, and you can read her mind. She's saying that woman's got no idea how to parent a child. Just then, one of these Wotsits goes down the wrong way, and the kiss starts. And he's turning blue. So the mother does no more than go behind him, does the old Heimlich manoeuvre, out shoots this semi-digested Wotsit, flies past me in slow motion, and lands in this woman's handbag, which does little to improve her mood. So she's snarling at him, he's fighting for breath. And my missus says, "You don't look very happy." I said, "Happy? I've got frowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, and here I am, stuck in the middle." I shouldn't let you, should I really, eh? That's what you get after 37 years. I reckon, you know, never mind 30, I reckon you can tell where you are in your relationship by what's stuck to your fridge. Because, you know, in the first blush of romance, you know, like these two here, you've got a little fridge magnet from somewhere exotic like Ibiza or Santorini. And there'll be a little black and white Polaroid of the two of you crammed into a booth having a little snog. And a couple of years later it goes on. Kids have arrived. Like Phil, yeah. All the enamel's been chewed off the fridge magnet. There's a couple of paintings there, Mummy and Daddy. Look like they've been done like Picasso on crack. You get to our sort of age, you've got an industrial strength fridge magnet, usually provided by a washing machine spares provider. And it's holding a sheaf of NHS correspondence. It's like an NHS stationery cupboard is thrown up on your fridge. There's repeat prescriptions. There's blood forms. There's invitations to join our bowel screening programme. Invitations for our cervical smear programme. I'll tell you, we've never been so fucking popular doing this, have we? And then later in life, she's just a lonely little fridge magnet from somewhere like Rill or Llandudno, just with a Dignitas leaflet. You haven't got a fucking clue who put it there. It might have been you, but you're so far gone you now can't remember, you know? It's the kids, by the way. The kids have put it there. Come on, Dad, get your big coat on. We're going to Switzerland. Oh! Are we going skiing? Well, we are. No, my kids never do that. I love my kids. I've got three daughters, and they're fantastic, my kids, honestly, they really are. But it's been a bit hard, actually, growing up as the only bloke in the house, because I'm outnumbered 5-1. I'm officially a sexual minority in my own home. Because there's the three girls, there's my wife, and God love him, even my dog's a bitch. And it's been hard work. It's been hard work, but I have to say I'm proud of them. They've all grown up to be what I'd call strong, independent women. Feminists with a small f. Unlike a friend of mine who's a feminist with a whopping big F. And she's always banging on about it, you know, about diversity and inclusion and equality. And I get it. I'm a new man. It's the 21st century. I've even got a sourdough starter. You know? But she never stops. And she's a lawyer in the construction industry, this girl. And so she shows me this picture on her mobile phone. She says, look at that. And it's an industry dinner, you know, formal dinner. Construction industry dinner. And it's mainly blokes, mainly white blokes aged about 25 to 50. And she says, that's what's wrong with the construction industry. I said, well, what's the problem? She says, where's the diversity and inclusion there? I said, you can't say that. Some of those blokes might be gay. Some of them might be bi. Some of them may be in transition. Some of them may be dual heritage with a light complexion. She says, no. Where are the women? They might have gone for a wee. They usually do. She says, no, the women aren't included. Nobody ever includes the women in construction. Name me one man who's ever properly included women in construction. I don't know what came over me, but apparently Fred West wasn't the answer she was looking for. Oh dear. Anyway, the good news is that the gender imbalance in my family has been redressed with the arrival of my grandkids, and we've got some grandparents, and we've got you've got a look of a man who's familiar with the words original there. I don't mean in a sort of hanging around playground sort of way. But yeah. I mean, as far as the grandparents in the room, can I just ask you a question? Do you ever find yourself sitting there watching Peppa Pig, and then you realise the grandkids went home half an hour? And you reach across for the remote control, and the missus says, no, leave it, this is a good one, this one. But no, they're fantastic, aren't they, grandkids? I mean, my eldest grandkid, he's an absolute hoot. My daughter, this last Christmas just gone, she got one of those, the nativity sets that goes on the mantelpiece. Tiny little thing, ceramic white thing. Baby Jesus was about that big. And they lost him. So she replaced the baby Jesus with a dry roasted peanut. It's just God's honest truth. But the peanut fell off and rolled under the settee. And my eldest grandson's the only one whose arms are long enough and thin enough to get under the settee. So he duly recovered the dry roasted baby Jesus and ate it. Effectively conducting his very own first Holy Communion. He's a bright lad. He's a bright lad, I tell you. We know he's a bright lad. He reads very well at school, and they did that. If you had World Book Day, if you come across World Book Day, yeah. You'll understand the concept. It's where the kids go in dressed in costume from one of their favourite books. I'm just not sure that my daughter's quite got the hang of it, because she got a note back from school. It says, "Dear Ms. Edge," very politically correct. "Dear Ms. Edge, thank you so much for the obvious time and effort you took with Elliot's costume as we prepared to celebrate World Book Day. The false tan and dreadlocks must have taken you out. However, I feel duty bound to point out that we've been reading Charles Dickens with the children this term, and we were rather hoping that Elliot's costume would represent the character of Jacob Marley." Not, as your son so eloquently argued, his older brother. And while we encourage the use of props to bring the children's chosen characters to life, we felt that a 6-inch spliff perhaps overstepped the mark for year 2. Thank you for your continued support, Mrs. Davis. World Book Day. We never had World Book Day, Phil, did we? We never had World Book Day. We never had books. No, honestly, I come from a big Catholic family, and we couldn't afford books. But my mum was a very proud woman, and she insisted that we could all read before we started school. We didn't have any books. So we learned to read from the births, deaths and marriages column in the Liverpool Echo. And it worked. It worked. I started school. I remember one of the teachers coming over to me on the first day. "Peter," she says, "your reading is fantastic. Where did you learn to read?" I said, "Well, at home. Peacefully." Surrounded by family. Anyway, the girls are all grown up now, but it's not been easy. It's not been easy getting to this stage because they're all gorgeous. Well, not so much the ginger one. We kept her. We kept it on the same basis, as miners used to keep a canary. We've kept her for the global warming because we reckon that it's going to get the gingers first. Once she starts curling up at the edges, it's time to fuck off to higher ground, to tell you the truth. No, they're all gorgeous. But over the years that brings a bit of male attention, and it's not always welcome. It's not always wanted. And as a dad, you feel protected, don't you? You feel you've got to do something. And I remember a few years ago there was this one lad. He wouldn't say no for an answer. Just wouldn't say no for an answer. Doesn't take the hint. Ringing on the doorbell, ringing the phone, asking her out. And I was at my wit's end. I didn't know what to do until my saviour arrived in the form of Liam Neeson. Now this might be a bit of a spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, but if you've never seen the film Taken, Liam Neeson plays an ex-CIA operative who doesn't mind getting his hands dirty. And his only darling daughter goes on a holiday to France, a holiday that he doesn't approve of. And on the very first day, she's kidnapped by Albanian people traffickers, and she gets snatched. But as she's getting snatched, she makes a frantic phone call on her mobile to her dad, and she's screaming down the phone to her dad, but she drops the phone. And the phone's still live. And the kidnapper picks it up. And Liam Neeson can hear him down the other end, breathing. He says to him, "I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If it's money you're after, I don't have any. But what I do have is a particular set of skills. Skills acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. Give me my daughter back, and that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you. Now, in fairness, the lad took it quite well. for an 8-year-old. These are things you do. These are things you do when you're a parent. These are things you do. And after 37 years of marriage, that's a bit of excitement, because otherwise we'd just sit at home, watch the telly, wistfully, saying things like, "That looks nice. We should have a go at that." Now, normally, it's something fairly innocent, like Great British Bake Off, Grand Designs. Look at that. Broccoli quiche. But with chorizo. That looks nice. We should have a go at that. Oh, look at that. Bifold doors. Opening out onto a sun terrace. That looks nice. We should have a go at that. And then you'll watch a film like Sliver with Sharon Stone. Ooh. Look at that. Sex in the shower. That looks nice. We should have a go at that. And while it might seem like a good idea at the time, frankly, the time was about 35 years ago. I still had a bit of upper body strength and some cartilage in my knees. Now, it's a health and safety nightmare. You try to do a proper risk assessment of that, they'd condemn it as hazardous activity. The NHS is under enough pressure. See, the first problem is, I'm a little under 6'2", and my wife's about 5'5", which leaves a very obvious and immediate shortfall of about 9 inches. I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not equipped to bridge that gap. No, it's not an issue in the films, is it? They're young and they're live and they're full of passion. She's got her arms around his neck and her legs around his waist. And they make it look so easy. Well, it's not. The reality is, the sad reality is, it's like sticking 80 bags of sugar in a rucksack and putting it on back to front. And it's slippy in there. It's hard enough staying on your own 2 feet, let alone the weight of somebody else. Tried wearing me wellies. They just keep filling up. So I've moved on to my walking boots. I'll grant you it's not the sexiest look, but they've got a Vibram sole for a bit of grip, Fitted a little shelf through after arsehole. Couple of grab handles. They're only £9.95 a pair at Screwfix. So the look we've arrived at is less sex dungeon, more disabled toilet, really. We used to have a safe word. Now we've just got an emergency pull cord. A little red plastic triangle on the end. You don't want to catch that. Straight through the care line. Next minute, you've got all the emergency services in your bathroom. Police, fire and ambulance and 2 damp, crumpled bodies in the shower shed. Like someone's been filming a video for the village people that's gone horribly wrong. Oh, God. But the worst thing, Have you ever tried snogging your partner in the shower when the water's running? It's like being waterboarded. And then the confessions start tumbling out, don't they? I didn't empty the dishwasher. I forgot to put the recycling out. I shagged your sister. I didn't think she even liked my sister. Oh God. Anyway, I'm going to have to go because I've not got long left. When I say I've not got long left, you know, it's I've got longer than you. No. I've had that conversation. You've got to have that mature conversation with your kids, haven't you, about, you know, end of life and all that sort of stuff. And I've decided against cremation. Never mind all these pure cremation adverts on the telly in the afternoon. I've decided, because it's only a matter of time, isn't it, before all those environmental protesters, you know, Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion, realise just how much fossil fuel it takes to burn a body. They're going to be gluing themselves to hearses, aren't they, soon? So I've decided to cut all that out, and I'm just going to take myself off to the local biomass producer where I live and get turned into electricity and sell myself posthumously back to the grid. Winner, chicken dinner. And of course the good thing is you don't have to have a big fancy funeral then, you just gather the family round a street lamp. Look at kids, that's your granddad there. But only till 10:30. And frankly, he wasn't that bright. But no, I'm going to have to go, because I'm driving tonight. And they sometimes shut the M6 at night, and it's a real pain in the arse. I like to get the train, to tell you the truth. I prefer to get the train, because I've got a senior rail card, probably like one or two others in this room. and so, you know, it's cheaper, it's a bit more friendly to the environment, it's safer, and I like a nice direct train. Don't like to change. I get a bit of travel anxiety if I have to change trains. And I was doing a gig the other night, and I was getting the train, but I couldn't get a direct train home. I had to change. I sat there, waiting for my connection, on the bench. I don't know about you guys, but I find young people can be very, very inconsiderate these days. I gave up smoking about 36 years ago, and I can't stand the smell now. And in the railway station, you're not allowed. So I was rocking back and forward, waiting for my connection. Next minute, these two girls come and sit here. Oh yeah, all right. And this fella comes and sits here. Okay, mate. And these two start vaping. And there's these horrible, sweet, smelling, toxic fumes billowing out. And then this guy lights up a cigarette. I'm sitting there thinking, I've got clouds to the left of me. Smokers to the right. And here I am, stuck in the middle, in Crewe. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, you've been a lovely audience. Financial teacher, extra night.
Peter Edwards.